Hello and welcome back to Ryn the Bookdragon. I'm Ryn, I use the pronouns, and I am so excited for today's video. In today's video, we are going to be doing a reading wrap-up for December of 2022, as well as doing 2023 book reading goals. So if you want to see that, stick around. If you're new to the channel, welcome, happy to have you. And if you want to follow me on any of my social medias, they are linked in the description box down below. But let's just get into books. So I read a whopping 4 books in December. I know, it's a lot. Slow down. I was kind of busy shopping for Monster High dolls, which was my Christmas gift to myself to start my own Monster High collection. But yeah, here are the girls, and more are on the way. But yeah, let's just talk about books. I just wanted to say, that's why I wasn't reading that much. I was like, oh my god, Monster High dolls. I can finally buy my Monster High dolls. But first book, this is not in order. It's just the books that I read. First up, the only physical book I read, All My Friends Are Dead by Avery Monson and Jory John. And this is a really cute book. It's like is both the saddest funny book and the funniest sad book you'll ever read, which I think is a great way of looking at it. Someone on TikTok said they wanted to read bedtime stories for adults, and I think this is pretty close to it. Talking about like all the dinosaurs are dead, so all his friends are dead, and then the tree, he lost his friend, and then the chairs, his friend's I was not his friend, we're not friends. And just kind of old people, all my friends are dead and now I'm dead. And it was just really, it's funny, sad, it's a great time, and yeah, I really liked it. 4 stars. Next, we're gonna go with King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. Now, I started reading this book I think in October, and it's a really good book. But I stopped reading it because I found out that in December book 2 was coming out, and I was like, oh, I don't want to finish book 1 and not immediately go into book 2. So I stopped reading it, and then I put the book on hold, book 2 on hold. And then it came to me 2 months later, and I was like, wait, it's here already? Crap, I have to finish book 1. And so because book 2 is coming out, there's a long line for book 1. So I just I'll just buy the ebook of book 1. And I was like, should I just buy the book 2 ebook as well? And I did. I bought both of them. They were only $5.71 on Amazon, so I was like, I'll do that. And so I read it. I finished it. This is my favorite Scarlett St. Clair book out of the 2 that I read. Maybe it's because there's vampires, maybe it's because it's fantasy, and it took me back to my high school days when I read a lot of fantasy books, but it was a good time. So the main character, her family, she's a princess, and in this realm the vampires are taking over, and the king decides that he's gonna control all of the kingdoms in the nearby region. Slowly he's gonna conquer all of them, and the first step is her kingdom, and her dad surrenders, and she ends up becoming betrothed to him and the vampire king. And she doesn't want to marry him. She wants to be queen without having to marry anybody, because that's her birthright. And her dad's it's really her lady in waiting, I would say. But the plan is to kill the vampire king, and then you could be queen of both, I guess. I don't know. And so that's her mission. Does she attempt to kill him? Yes, twice, and she fails both times. And so but she slowly starts to fall for him, and she's kind of battling, like, I'm supposed to have killed him, and I failed, and my family's gonna be so disappointed that I'm like falling for this guy, and also other things are happening, and yeah, it's a good book. I do want to put a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear the spoiler, skip ahead a little bit. But in 2022, especially the last bit of the year, I read a lot of books, 3 to be exact, that I know of, where the dad, not a good guy, and gets killed. And I'm pretty sure all 3 times it was by the daughter. I didn't do it on purpose, obviously, but I'm just like, there seems to be a theme at the end of the year that I didn't know was happening. But I just thought that was interesting, because it happened twice in November and then once in December. I'm like, wow, this happened quite a bit. Anyway, but I gave this book 5 stars, and I'm going to be reading book 2. Right now I'm currently reading like a fairy fantasy book, but yeah, I really liked it. So yeah. Next book I finished was I Think I Love You by Ryn the I hope I said that right. And it is a YA LGBTQIA plus romance. And in it, give me 1 second. I never remember characters' names, so I have to go and figure out the names. Okay, so the main characters are Emma and Sophia. Emma and Sophia. Okay. So Emma is a bisexual who's out at school but not out with her parents yet. And there's an opportunity at the school where they can film a movie, and there's great opportunities that will lead to like going to LA and showing the film off to prominent names in the industry, and also scholarships for everyone in the group that participated, and so that they can go to film school and, you know, become filmmakers. And that's what she wants to be. She wants to be a filmmaker, and her idea is to write her story is a rom-com. It's a bisexual rom-com is what her story is, and that's the idea she takes to her friends, and most of them love it. Enter Sophia. She just recently moved back from Paris. She was already a part of the friend group, but she left. She was gone for like a year. She recently came back, and she is the opposite of Emma. She hates romance, because her parents got divorced, and she thought that they were happy, and turns out everything she knew about love was wrong. So she did not want to do a romance movie, and so Emma and Sophia are bickering, and they decided they split the group. So half of the group is going to do a movie with Sophia, and the other half is doing the movie with Emma. And the friends are like, this is ridiculous. Let's try to set them up so that we can bring the group back together. And so that's what ensues in the book. I really liked it. I don't really listen to audiobooks, but I decided to listen to the audiobook version of it as I was reading it. And the switching between the characters really made you feel like, okay, now we're listening to this person, and then going back and forth. And it was really nice, and I really liked it. And I'm going to try to read more audiobooks because that was fun. And also, what else was there? But yeah, I really liked it. I think I gave it 5 stars. Because I was like, oh, this is really good. And I kind of sailed right through it. And I was like on the edge of my seat, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And that doesn't happen that often. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, next. Now, the next book I finished, this is technically the last book, but I didn't finish this one last. Anyway, the last book I finished was The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. And I have to like go back so I can figure out the main character's name, because I don't know. Joy, okay. So, if you didn't know this, I am asexual. And so I was like, I wanted to read books with representation of being asexual. And so when I went on Libby, because it's an ebook, I typed in asexual, this book popped up, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna read this. And I also listened to the audiobook version of it because it's in third person, and I find that to be pretty difficult to get into. But yeah, and I really liked it. Because I found it to be like a very relatable, like the character herself, not like the whole situation. Her being relatable, her experiences being relatable. But let's talk about what the book is actually about. So we have Joy, who is like 30, and she is in love with her best friend. I think his name is, I don't know his name, Malcolm. I was gonna say Marcus. Malcolm. And they work together, and she's been in love with him for 10 years. And he starts acting differently because he was engaged to be married, and the wedding was broken off, and he was very sad for a long time. And then recently started like being more cheery and peppy, and she was like, oh, maybe he's coming back until. So he started planning this secret trip, and she, because they work together, knows him. She's been known him for like 10 years, so she knows all his like little like things. And it's like, oh, he'll finally like want to like ask me out. And so instead he tells her that he's seeing this new person, and when he's going to take her away on this trip to like see if they will like be compatible, and ask her out at the end of the trip or something. So the trip was like dedicated to this new girl. I think her name is Summer. And she's like, what? And also like Summer's bringing Fox, which is one of her friends, and so like, can you keep him company? And she was like, I don't want to do that. And her sister was like, that's dumb, but you should also do it so you can like stop like pining over this guy who's obviously not into you. And so she decides to do it, and Fox clocks like her liking him instantly. Like, and it's like, hey, I think they're trying to set us up. Why don't we just let it just play out and just see how it goes? And she's like, okay. If she's versus like, no. But then she's like, okay, let's since that's what you want me to do. He wants me to like spend more time with you. Let's just get into it. Let's just do it. So while it has one of my least favorite things in books, I really don't like pining, like especially 10 years. 10 years of pining just makes me really sad. But fake dating makes up for it because it's really good and really excellently written, and her slowly moving on from a crush she's had for 10 years, it was beautiful reading and listening to. I really liked it. Obviously 5 stars. But yeah, that is all the books that I read in 2022, wrapping up 2022. Getting into the next portion. Next portion is reading goals for 2023. I wrote them down. It's not in any particular order. Just like whatever one came to mind first and wrote it down. Okay, so 2023, I would like to read more graphic novels. I started in 2022 and was really enjoying them. And I really think the ebooks really helped me get into graphic novels. And then when I'm at the library, because I'm there all the time because I work there, I see them and I'm like, see graphic novels, and I'm like, oh, let's try this one out. Oh, let's try that one out. And so I have a bunch of them in my room and haven't cracked most of them open. And I'm like, just read them. It's okay. It's a physical book. That's really, going back to physical books is pretty difficult, I guess. But I got some and I really want to read them. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 is keep reading diverse books, diversifying my books. I don't know if I'm going to be straying too much out of my genre. I might explore a little bit. I've been reading some nonfiction, but just like reading more disabled characters, reading more LGBTQ characters, reading more POC characters, just really just opening up the doors to that. I don't want to stray too far into like books I know I'm not going to, like genres I know I'm not going to enjoy. But I do want to like explore like different characters. Yeah, I hope that explained it better. I don't know. Anyway, number 3, listen to more audiobooks. In April, I read a nonfiction book. It was called Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, and listened to the audiobook version as I was reading it and really enjoyed it. And then didn't touch another audiobook until, actually I tried in like October, I think, to read one, and I didn't have the physical book right in front of me. So because I didn't have the physical book right in front of me and I tried to do other tasks, because people are always like, I can multitask when I listen to audiobooks. I cannot multitask while I'm listening to an audiobook because I'll be focusing on the task and not the story or whatever I'm listening to. So it didn't work out for me doing it without the physical book and trying to do other things. But sitting down and listening to an audiobook as I'm reading it is what I want to get into doing more of. So yeah. So my reading goal of how many books I want to finish, 60. In 2020, I managed to read over 100 books. I think it was like 110, I think. And I tried to set that reading goal in 2021. Didn't reach it. So I made it like 75, I think. And made it to 86 or something. I don't remember. And then I tried again last year. And then by like June, I was like, just try 50. Let's go with 50 and see if you make that. I read 61 or 62. Don't remember. But I decided to just like go lowball it, and then go surpass it. I like the idea of surpassing it better than not reaching it. So I started out like last year, 50, this year, 60, and slowly work my way back up to 100. If I ever get back to that point. 2020 was a crazy time. So yeah, that's what I want to do, and I just broke a nail, so that's fun. Number 5, DNF more quickly, because I will like drag along with a book until I like for weeks. I'll just drag along for weeks with this book, and I'm just like, and I won't read, because I was able at one point to read more than one book at once, but I tend to hyper focus on a book, and if I can't, like, if I'm not getting into that book, I just stop. Like, there's no other books to read besides this one, and so I don't read because of it. This doesn't count for like just general like what's it called when you're like can't physically read? what's it called? Oh, let me see. Let me check my notes. Oh, I literally just said when I generally don't want to read, but when a book is the problem. When it's the book itself that's preventing me from reading, stop. If it's just me not wanting to read, then it's, you know, just keep trying to read the book. Try to read a book, kind of thing. Number 6. This is just something that I want to try out. I'm thinking around my birthday, like my birthday month, trying Kindle Unlimited, because while I love the library, the books that I know I want to read are not at the library. They're not there, or there's a long line for them, and I'm patient. I'm patient, but I just don't want to have to wait, because by the time it's my turn, I'm not ready for the book anymore, and so I have to put it on pause, and then I'm on hold again. And so yeah, that I want to try Kindle Unlimited and just see if I like it and if I'm gonna keep up with that, or just try it for a month. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, number 7. Buy less physical books and buy more ebooks, because I already know that I like ebooks more than physical books. I tend to, like, we have book sales at the library, and I see them and I'm like, ooh, books, grab them, I want them, and I don't have the space for them. I generally am like running out of space for them, so I just like stop buying them and just get some ebooks. Get the books that you know you're gonna want to read, and yeah, like Kindle Unlimited, buy ebooks and call it a day. So I'm gonna be slowing down on buying physical books. I do have like a haul of all the books that I bought that'll be coming out soon, but yeah, I'm gonna slow down in 2023. So hopefully these book sales don't have anything I want. Because that really is what it comes down to. When you see books like, oh, I really want this book. Like, where are you going to put it? I don't know, but I really want this book. And so hopefully there's not any that I'm just like gravitated towards that will help me not buy books. And so far, when we've had book sales, we're having a book sale right now. I haven't wanted any of the books. So actually that's not true. I did see something I wanted, but it wasn't for me. So that doesn't count. If it's not for me, it doesn't count. But yeah, slow down on the books. 3 more. So Kindle, the app has like these reading challenges on there that I participated in last year. Not necessarily like knowingly. I just kind of was reading, and I was like, oh, you did this challenge, you did this for the challenge, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But at the library, they're having a reading challenge, like a winter reading challenge, and I was like, oh, I'll sign up for that, and you can get like a blanket if you read 5 books by March. And I'm like, I can do that. I could do that. I don't necessarily want the blanket, but it's just like something like an actual goal to like achieve. You know, read 5 books in the winter and you can get a blanket. So yeah, that's just something that I thought would be fun to do. Number 9. Now, I don't know how well I'm gonna get to doing this, but I would like to finish some of the series that I've started. I couldn't always afford to like buy the ebooks, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th book in a series, and so I would just stop reading the series even though I really enjoyed the 1st book because I couldn't buy the 2nd book. And so I would like to pick up some of those series that I liked and finish them, or at least start to finish them, like start reading the sequels to them, if that's at all. Like that's one thing that's just like, I could think of the books, can't remember the names of them, but I can think of the books and like, oh, I really liked that book, why did I not continue reading the series? Like, oh yeah, you didn't buy the series. So yeah, that's what I want to do. And the last thing is the hardest of them all. It's the hardest of them all. Don't overwhelm myself with so many library books or books in general. I think that's the last one. Yeah. Because I work at the library and I'm constantly like dealing with books, like actually just like scanning the books in. I'm like, oh, this looks really good. I will write down the book if someone else wants to read it. I'm like, I'll write it down. And if no one else is like, is like, hey, put it on the cart. I'm like, I can just check it out then, and I'll just check it out. And then I'll bring home this huge stack of books and they sit in a pile and I don't read them. And then 2 weeks go by and it's like due. And I'm like, oh, renew it. Just renew it, please. So a lot of the books I've had for months. One book I've had since June, before I even started working at the library. And some I've had like since I started working at the library, which is like September, October time frame. And it's just like, slow down. Don't check out any more books. Like, read what you got first. Finish at least 1 or 2 of them before you try to get some more. And just kind of slowly, you know, check out books. And like fight with ebooks. I want to buy more ebooks. I don't want to have so many purchased ebooks that I haven't read any. So if like I purchased 3 of them in December, I finished 1. So I need to finish the other 2 before I can go and buy. Actually, I bought 4. One that hasn't released yet. I think it releases in February. Is book 2. This is the book I'm currently reading. And so I want to finish the books that I've purchased before purchasing more of them. So I don't overwhelm myself with like, oh, I bought so many books. What do I do with them? And they just sit and I forget about them. So I don't want to overwhelm myself. I also like, because I have a huge physical TBR, I just don't read them and I just read an ebook instead. So I just like want to like stop. It's like, it's a library. They will have the book for you. And if you don't, you can always just like buy the ebook version. Or, you know, like read it on Libby or something. I don't check out that many books on Libby. I have like the 2 that I finished. I didn't want to like return them until I talked about them. I have 3 books on Libby. 1 I'm currently reading, and I have the audiobook of it too. But yeah, I don't want to have so many books that I can't read them, or just like I'm so overwhelmed I can't read them. But yeah, that is the goals for 2023. We'll see how well we do. I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic that I can do some of these goals. Don't know about the buying one, but we're gonna try very hard not to buy too many physical books. But yeah, that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification notification when I upload. Don't know my uploading schedule. Whenever I have a book video, I'm going to upload it. And I feel like that's easier for me to just like, oh, I have a video, edit it, upload it, and doing it that way. The scheduling kind of gets more difficult because I have other like channels and also like working, so trying to navigate that. Just hit the bell notifications so you just know, hey, there's a new video. Ryn put out a new video. I'm gonna go check it out. I mean, if you want to. But yeah, that is all for today's video. And until next time, drink some water, eat a snack, read a book no matter the platform, and also no matter like the age group. That's an important one too. And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!